reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. In those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day that Noah entered the ark. They did not know until the flood came and carried them all away. So it will also be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be out in the field. One will be taken, and one will be left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken, and one will be left. Therefore, stay awake. For you do not know on which day your Lord will come. Be sure of this, if the master of the house had known the hour of night when the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and let no one into his house to be broken into. So too, you also must be prepared. For at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Well, we begin our church year. Church year, the year of the people of God, that cycle which we repeat over and over again, that can sometimes be, well, a little humdrum, the colors change the same as every year. And, yes, it's Advent. Yes, we're waiting for Christmas. It's a time that we're, anxiety is kind of like on the upswing, because of all the demands that the commercial world puts upon us. And so many people have said that the joy of giving has kind of been even sapped out of us, keeping in mind that even though we're out there buying gifts, they're having practically riots. Did you see that on Black Friday? My gosh, But, the spirit of giving. So, but we're people who claim that we belong to God, and we look forward to Christ's coming again. And we even would say we're living in the last days. A lot of people say, you get little flyers on the car and they'll say, watch out, next Tuesday is going to be, the end. But we're already in the end. We're already in the days of the Lord. The Lord has come. As Isaiah was looking for that coming has happened. But, instead of just wrapping it all up, he established an ongoing end times that we are participating in, so that what we do can bring his blessings to nations in every corner of the earth. And that was kind of the theory that was proposed by the prophet. All nations will come and be blessed. And so there was a real kind of positive feeling about the Old Testament reading that through us and blessings that come to us, all people will be blessed, and people will be coming to the mountain of the Lord. Then comes Jesus, and he kind of puts this thing in, watch out, be ready. Your Lord is going to come like a thief in the night. And then you kind of say, well, gee, there's some very wonderful things about our belief, but then there are some things that have a tendency to scare us. And that's when the nuns used to tell us that, your life is going to be up in front of everybody like a movie screen, and everything you ever did, everybody will know at the end of the world. Did they tell you that? Can you imagine how long that would take? Don't worry, they'll all be worried about what they're going to have up there, so they won't be looking at yours. We were given some kind of a reprieve on that. So this scene of the end times, but we are in the end times. And in so doing, we still know, because this has been elongated, this period of time, a time in which we're supposed to bring blessings to others, and to be, people recognize something different about them in a good way. We still are told to be expecting something. Now, I've got a theory about expectations. You know, we as people who belong to God, if we have a lot of expectations, we can be very disappointed. So many people have bad fortune. So many of us suffer. There's a book by the God Squad that says, why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people? It all doesn't work out to be very fair. It makes me think of in the pediatric intensive care unit, the most beautiful little 4-year-old girl on a ventilator, and I went up for the removal. And I saw all kinds of emotions on those people, but boy, the mother was angry. So I had to say, we're not really happy with God right now, are we? No, we're not happy with God. We blessed the water, we blessed the people, we said the prayers, sign of peace. They were all hugging and crying. So we have this thing of good and bad happens. Why? And why do we come here and sing these songs, be in expectation, and think everything is going to be rosy? Well, we know it's not. But if we have expectations, that may be what we're waiting for, and we can be sorely disappointed. It's not expectations that we should really have when we pray and when we go about and move and have our being as people of God. It's expectancy. Expectations mean I'm waiting for something, and you know what goes along with that? Entitlement. I shouldn't have to put up with all these things that have happened to me. I shouldn't have to put up with anything that might be going to happen to me. And when it does, God's going to be the first one I'm going to blame, and probably has been the last one I've had anything to do with for the last 5 years. That's expectations. We expect life to be perfect. We expect that we should have the rights to things like health care and all of those things. We do our best to provide for us, but it still is not going to be 100% fair for everybody. And if we have expectations, we're going to be sorely disappointed. If we have expectancy, we're almost ready for anything to happen. And that is, in a sense, is indicated by the positive of the Old Testament reading and the kind of, whoa, we better be ready of the gospel reading, that there's going to be good, there's going to be bad, and we have to be in a state of expectancy and faith to know that in the end, all of the negative will mean nothing. And all of those positive things, hopefully, we will have taken advantage of. There was a woman I visited in the hospital also a long time ago, and there was a wheelchair, motorized wheelchair in the corner. She was in the bed, and you know what she was suffering from? Are you ready? Kidney stone. I can see some people with that kidney stones. Well, the pain of those kidney stones is probably, maybe not, I don't want to get you women up, you know, close to childbirth, I don't know, but it really hurts. And her insurance didn't cover it. So she sat in, or lay in this bed, and pretty much put up with this great pain, and they really didn't have much they could do for her. Maybe a little pain meds, maybe they kind of prayed that they were going to pass. And what she did was, instead of saying, why me? She said the one thing that a lot of people do say. I asked God, why me? And he said, why not you? And what she had in her hand was, and I've told this story before, a book. And the book was Sign Language, American Sign Language. And she was studying this book and indicated to me that being on welfare, she gave free lessons in sign language to people. She didn't sit around and moan and groan. She knew that something wonderful is going to happen to her because of her relationship with God. She was in a state of expectancy. But she had no expectations in terms of what was going to happen to her. No demands in terms of what was going to happen to her. And so she was a marvelous example of Christianity, of a human being still giving even when, you know, she probably felt like she was on the short end of the stick. So when we live our lives, if we live our lives as Christians, We need, especially during this season, to be reminded that we're living in a state of expectancy. And what's going to happen, who knows? One of the best things we can start to say is, we don't know for sure. Are the graves going to burst open and is there going to be a movie screen? We don't know. Is it going to be something much more natural where we will be gathered into God's kingdom at the time of our death? We don't know. The bottom line is, what we do know is that God has claimed each and every one of us, and what He has in store for us, we can have an expectation of happiness and joy. Today,